Now, The Hunt Palmer Show.
Yes! I feel like I've been waiting for this my entire life.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Jolly good fun. Jolly good.
Locking down the middle of the day.
America's favorite daytime fun show.
Live from the Raising Cane studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
Welcome in! Hunt Palmer coming to you from the Raising Cane studio downtown in the capital city on this Tuesday. Means brought to you by Immense Networks Cloud IT Management. Hope your work week's off to a good start. Appreciate you hanging out with us on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Jordan Kitchens, Gassy Spazzali back there on the ones and twos. Sharif Ishak in 15 minutes talking Saints. Glenn West in half an hour talking LSU. There is going to be a canceled baseball game this evening, not in Baton Rouge, but in Lexington, Kentucky for RPI reasons. I just kind of want to kick that around at the end of this hour. Wilson Alexander now has moved on to On 3, national college football reporter, but he sat down with Lane Kiffin and basically got a one-on-one, but it was also in response to the Vanity Fair piece that dropped yesterday. Wilson's going to stop by here at 2 o'clock to discuss that. I want to talk about Mason Braun at 2:15. So plenty to do here over the course of the next couple of hours. Lock us in. Let's crank things up with our opening drive.
Welcome to the big league.
It's time for Hunt's Opening Drive. Presented by Fabry Chevrolet GMC in St. Francisville.
Look, y'all, I'll be real honest with you. I would love to start today's show crunching RPI numbers. I would love to be looking at host sites and regional projections. I would love to sit down and talk about LSU's pitching plans this weekend and how to use those moving into Hoover and all that kind of. That's what I would like to do on May the 12th. That's where my bread is buttered. That's what I want to do this time of year. It's my favorite time of year. I can't. That's a worthless conversation. So the lead of today's show is not exactly what I want to talk about. I do believe it to be the biggest story in our market right now, one that is taken over at a national level in the world of college sports, and it's Lane Kiffin's comments to Vanity Fair and On 3. Now, I brought this up yesterday. The story had been dropped a couple of hours prior to me going on air. I read it. I gave my thoughts on it yesterday, and essentially my thoughts were, this doesn't really matter. But that's not the way almost anyone else has perceived this story. In fact, it's gotten a ton of reaction, a ton of discussion from Vanity Fair, in Louisiana, in Mississippi, nationally, college football analysts, fans. No matter where you look on my feed on Twitter or Instagram, I'm getting inundated with Lane Kiffin Vanity Fair talks and racism and bringing the new girl to the family reunion and all sorts of takes that I'm looking at. And that has changed the way I've kind of looked at this story nationally. To me, I don't really care. And I wrote a column about it on LouisianaSports.net that this whole war of words thing is worthless to me. But I'll tell you, like, I took in some Mississippi content over the last 24 hours. And I think all these guys and these outlets do a really good job at creating traffic and discussing Ole Miss, and I lean on all of these different outlets for information and an opinion and a pulse of Mississippi. Chase Parham and Neil McCready do great work for 24/7. I listened to their podcast this morning. They both used the term obsessed with Ole Miss when talking about Lane Kiffin. He's obsessed with Ole Miss. So that's their take on the matter. Stephen Willis, he is an Ole Miss fan and purports himself to be such, and he's a little bit inflammatory and is suggesting that Lane Kiffin will never make the playoffs at LSU and that he would have lost to Tulane and in the playoff, even though he beat Tulane by 100 like 3 months earlier. That's what Stephen does, and look, his podcast is really big. But he used the caption of his profile in YouTube today, Lane Kiffin is an awful human being. That was the title of his YouTube video. Lane Kiffin is an awful human being. Super Talk Mississippi, which I have a ton of respect for. I saw Brian Haydad, who's a Mississippi State guy, but I saw him in Starkville a couple of weeks ago. But his partner, Michael Borky, said, and I quote here, Lane used the race card to say I had to leave Ole Miss because of racism. That's the coverage you're getting from over in Mississippi. And, like, they know Lane Kiffin better than I do. They've been around Lane Kiffin for 6 years. I've been around him for 6 months. I've been aware of his presence for longer than that, but that's what the people in Mississippi are suggesting. And to me, this story is just a nothing burger to me. There are so many Ole Miss fans on message boards and on Twitter and on On3 and Rivals and comments that are suggesting that Lane Kiffin is calling Ole Miss a racist institution. Like, that's the vibe and the tone that I'm gathering from the people in Mississippi. And I wasn't there for this 4-hour conversation that Lane Kiffin had with Vanity Fair. All I have is the quote. And the quote doesn't suggest that Ole Miss is racist. In no way does that excerpt from the story suggest that. It says, when I was recruiting, there were grandparents who had a hard time with their grandchildren moving to Oxford, Mississippi. And there was a stereotype and a feeling from the outside that I had to fight against at Ole Miss. I mean, newsflash here, folks. In the states of Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, Louisiana, there's a period of history, especially for those in their 60s and 70s that have grandkids, not a great human rights record. It's American history. And so for people who are not in Oxford, Mississippi, or not in Jackson, Mississippi, that are from out of state or maybe across the country, that have had that perception of the South for 50 years, that now their grandson wants to go play football, that might cause a problem. He didn't say it happened every time or that I could never recruit, but he was there for 6 years. Maybe a couple of grandparents expressed some questions about Oxford. I don't see how that's massively inflammatory. And oh, by the way, that can happen in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, too. He was in Oxford for 6 years. He's been in Baton Rouge for 6 months. Now, he said that he's had grandparents and parents suggest that, hey, the diversity in Baton Rouge is great. Baton Rouge's population is about 50% African American. There is an HBCU in town. There's a lot of diversity in Baton Rouge. That's not breaking news. It's statistical fact. I have a hard time getting all riled up about this when it doesn't appear to me to be all that inflammatory at all. And they're just fanning the flames over there in Mississippi. And I have said this, and I wrote this in my column. My opinion is that Lane Kiffin should stop talking. He should stop doing Vanity Fair pieces. He doesn't need to go on the Feinbaum show. He doesn't need to hop immediately on with Wilson Alexander, who did a great job. And we're going to talk to Wilson in 50 minutes about this. And I'm curious for his thoughts because Lane Kiffin did go there. But if Lane Kiffin is trying to fight for his public persona to be drastically different and to be accepted in Mississippi, it's never, ever, ever, ever going to happen. It doesn't matter who you are. If you leave Ole Miss for LSU during a season in which there are championship aspirations on the line, under no circumstance will you ever be paraded around Oxford and welcomed back with open arms. It's an impossibility. That's how this whole thing works. So his attempt at trying to justify this decision or to try to say, hey, Ole Miss fans, we had a pretty good run. It's not going to work. Ever. So what you need to do is throw your arms around LSU, stay away from cameras and microphones, stay in the film room, go to the Florida Keys and go fishing, spend some time with your family, coach the team, and win some games. Ultimately, and this is the fact of the matter, and this was the crux of my column, what's not going to matter is the way he left Oxford or whether or not there was a crazy person trying to run him off the road or not, whether he had a police escort or not, whether he took staff to Baton Rouge or didn't, whether he had grandparents that thought there may be racial undertones that were or were not true. None of that is going to matter. You know what's honestly not going to matter either? In the grand scheme of this whole thing, the game on September 19th, that's not even going to matter either. Lane Kiffin did not take this job to beat Ole Miss in September. He's going to try like hell. I hope he does. Lane Kiffin took this job for the next 6 to 10 years, not 6 to 10 months. That's why he up and left in the middle of a playoff run for Ole Miss. He was not thinking about the next 6 weeks. He was thinking about the next 6 to 10 years. And none of this war of words between Ole Miss administrators and Trinidad Chambliss saying, hey, look, we got a coach in Pete Golding who's a little bit more team first, and Kiffin going on Vanity Fair, and Kiffin trying to say this in a press conference, saying he's got the better girl. Like, none of that's going to matter. What's going to matter is, does Lane Kiffin get LSU to the college football playoff 4 times and win a national championship, or does his career look like Brian Kelly's? That's the only thing that's going to matter here. To a far lesser extent, what Pete Golding is able to do in Oxford is part of this story too. But ultimately, it's going to be wins and losses on the field. It doesn't matter why he left. It doesn't matter what time he left. He left. And he needs to put down this insatiable desire for people around the country to accept him and to hear his side of the story. It doesn't matter. The people here in Baton Rouge love it. They're laughing all day. Yesterday, Vanity Fair. Today, like, it's people met, took your coach. We're going to smoke him in Oxford. Ole Miss is toast. We got, and people in Oxford are going, hey, Pete Golding ran this recruiting operation. Hey, Pete Golding's defense is what made us better than we were. We already had Lane's offense and we weren't that good. He never wins big games. Golding beat Georgia in the Superdome. Like, they're going to frame it their way. LSU fans are going to frame it their way. None of it freaking matters. The only thing that's going to matter is what Lane Kiffin's entire arc in Baton Rouge looks like, not right now. And I just would have a disagreement that Lane Kiffin was just completely out of line in this nothing burger of a Vanity Fair piece. I read it and thought it was so mundane, so mild, but in the same breath, I don't think he should have done it. I don't think there's any positive. The positive is going to work and making this job everything that you thought it was and why you left Ole Miss. You left Ole Miss because you feel like this is the spot where you can really plant your roots and win. That's why you did it. And that's what's going to matter. I can't conjure up a lot of emotion about the Vanity Fair piece. I can about the public reaction to it, which is essentially what I wrote about in my column. But again, it's not even talking season yet. Talking season is like July and August. It's May. It is what it is. And I think it's part of the Lane Kiffin experience that we'll have to get used to. He's not going to just go coach his team. He's going to do press conferences. He's going to do interviews. He's going to get on Twitter. He's going to get on Instagram. He's going to do all these things. It's what Lane does. He likes to be in the public eye. But I think his attempt to try to sway the narrative is just not going to play. What plays is you redeem yourself by kind of keeping a lower profile and winning a bunch of games here. That's what plays. We'll see if he can get that done. That's our opening drive here on this Tuesday. We're brought to you by Immense Networks Cloud IT Management. When we come back, Sharif Ishak talking a little bit of Saints. We'll do that coming up.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Folks over at Auctioner want to remind you that March is Stroke Awareness Month. And what I've been telling you all month long, May is Stroke Awareness Month, is that there's an acronym that's really easy and easy to understand. It's balance and eyes, BE, and then FAST, FAST, face, arms, speech, and time. With balance, if a person is unable to maintain proper balance, need to be checked on. If a person's vision is affected or an eye is deviated to one side, another sign. The face, is one side droopy or is it numb? The arms, weak or numb. Speech, slurred. If the person shows any of these symptoms, even if they go away, you need to get them to a medical professional immediately. Call 911 or get to a hospital. You got to remember to be fast. Stroke Prevention 101 is something else that Auctioner is so big on. Control your blood pressure. High blood pressure is a major risk factor if left untreated. It's Stroke Awareness Month all May long, and we're telling you about it thanks to our friends at Auctioner.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
At Parrish, we're built for tough players and tough roofs.
Coach is tough on us about preparation, and Parrish brings that same championship mindset.
Do business with someone you know. Parrish Construction and Roofing.
ParrishBuilt.com. Raising Cane's Texas Toast is a thick slice of bread, garlic buttered spread, grilled to golden perfection, and made to order just for you. Because when you make it right, you can taste it in every bite. Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers. One love.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Looking for cleaner energy? Propane is energy for everyone. Propane water heaters are very cost efficient, and the savings are even greater with a tankless propane water heater. We all know that Louisiana propane is a safe and environmentally friendly fuel. So why not go green while you save some green? I'm Miss Louisiana, Gabrielle McLeod, and for more information, visit louisianapropane.com.
If your office is experiencing performance issues like slow networks, jammed printers, or disappearing files, Advanced Office Systems may be right for you. With powerful IT solutions, print management, document imaging, and security systems, they help offices regain confidence naturally. Side effects may include uncontrollable.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Feel like your IT department's a little bit overwhelmed? Immense Networks Cloud IT Management, happy to help you out. Check them out at immense.net, immense.net. They bring you our Tuesday shows each and every week. We'll talk to Glenn West about the Tigers coming up in 15 minutes right now. Sharif Ishak on the Hoodats joins us from New Orleans on the Jim's Firearms Hotline. Sharif, how are you?
I will never doubt you again when it comes to baseball, so I'm doing well.
What did I do this time?
You told me that they weren't back, and you were right.
They were not back. They went to Athens and did not quite come up with a win. I think things are running out rapidly here. We're about a week out from LSU's baseball season being over, I'm afraid. That just gets us to football even more quickly, and the Saints are part of that story as well. Rookie mini camp starting last week. Jordan Tyson out there for a bit, then some load management's not out there. Anything you took away from rookie mini camp with the Saints?
His one practice was really sharp. I thought he looked quick, fluid, sharp running his routes. It's everything what the Saints could definitely use with a top-notch receiver. I'm not worried that he missed that second practice. I know Kellen said it wasn't due to an injury. It's maybe a little bit of a bending of the truth there with what he told us Saturday. Maybe he's right. I know he's not really a lying type of guy. He's an honest guy. But maybe he woke up a little sore after that practice that he had on Friday, and they said, all right, no, we're not going to go through this. We're just going to ramp you up, and it's only rookie minicamp. But I was really impressed just watching him run his routes. I was impressed with all three receivers. They're really, all of them are really good people on top of being good football players. I enjoyed talking to Barry enjoyed talking to Bryce Lance. Those are the three guys we talk to a lot. But just looking at it, rookie minicamp isn't much, Hunt. It's an hour long. You don't get helmets. You don't get nothing. You don't get pads. You just get pretty much a walkthrough on steroids. That's what you got, some 7-on-7, and that was pretty much it. But I enjoyed watching the speed of those three receivers, and I would think fans are going to be very excited about what's to come.
Look, they have a lot of numbers at wide receiver now based on what they did in the draft and some guys coming back from injury from last year. What do you think the chances are that Barry Brown can stick with the Saints in either capacity in the active roster, certainly on the practice squad as well?
No, I think he's going to be on the active roster.
Okay.
I truly do. I don't know why I know people are like, well, he got drafted super late, and that's just is what it is, a 6th-round pick. But I was like, this team's special teams was awful last year. It was awful. I mean, the return game was terrible after Rashid Shaheed left. So he's going to fill in that void that Rashid left behind whenever he went to Seattle. So I think he's there for sure. And look, you can use him in a number of different areas on the field with your offense. In the slot, you can line it up wide. You can do jet sweeps. You can do a lot with him. He's got speed, hon. Speed kills in the NFL. And this team desperately needs that. And I have him penciled in on 100% on the active roster whenever the active roster is made before the season starts.
Same thing go for Bryce Lance?
Yeah, of course. You're not wasting a 4th-round pick on a guy just to put him on the practice squad or cut him. I mean, that means you would have made a major mistake in terms of the evaluation for the draft process. And but he's a smart kid. You're talking to a smart kid. I mean, 27 touchdowns in the last 2 seasons at North Dakota State. Run the route tree really well. He's got to just clean it up a little bit in terms of his route running. Does a little extra at times in terms of coming out of the breaks. But I think he's a good receiver. He's going to be a solid receiver. He had nice production, like I said, for the North Dakota State Mines. So you can use him also at a number of spots. Speedy, and he's 6'3", and got some size. I'd like to see him put on a little bit more size and some more weight. But look, you're not cutting a 4th-round pick. He's going to be on your active roster. You cannot complain about Tyler Shuck needing weapons, and then you go out there and draft 3 guys and say, look, we're going to cut possibly the last 2 they drafted. I just don't see that happening.
Schedule release is the next thing on the schedule, I guess I should say. That's coming up on Thursday. How do you feel about, or what's important for the New Orleans Saints coming up on Thursday with the release?
After not having a primetime game, I think they're in play for 3, Hunt. The obvious one would be the 20-year anniversary of the Dome coming against the Falcons. That'll be, I think, week 3 if the schedule falls right, September 25th. So that's a Friday. So I think that's like the big obvious one. Where do they put their divisional games? Wondering if like the Packers or Steelers at home will be a primetime game, which sounds like it should be. One of them should be a primetime game. There's always a sneaky AFC team that they get hit with a Thursday night football game. And I'm assuming the Paris game, from all understanding, is the Browns October 25th. But I just want to see where they start the season, how they set up their home schedule to start the season. Having a lot more games at home to start the season would be nice to get them off on a good roll. Second easiest schedule in NFL. It really doesn't mean anything because we've seen teams with tough schedules last year make a run. But that's what I'm looking at. I'm looking at how many primetime games can they finally get a Sunday night football game on for the first time since 2021 when they were in Tampa and beat the Buccaneers 9-0 in December when Sean Payton had COVID and Taysom Hill played quarterback. So some things I'm looking out for. I'm not sure if they're ready for that Sunday night vibe again because it feels like that's reserved for teams who are a legit playoff contenders and have a chance to make it deep into the playoffs.
What do you feel about the bye week and as it relates to the Paris game / divisional game / time of the year that they have it? I mean, that time around late October is generally a pretty good time to have it. Do you feel like they may get the bye in some place around that travel game?
So what they're asking for, from what we're being told from sources, that they want to play a Thursday night game before going to Paris and then getting the bye week after.
Whoa, okay.
So that makes the most sense, huh? I mean, if you play October 25th, and the following week would be November, I guess, 1st. So you can get off on All Saints Day. And that's what it sounds like. I mean, they could come back and play that week and have the bye week on the 8th and be fine with that. But, I mean, it's a tough, long stretch if you're asking for a bye week 2 weeks after you play that game in Paris. But it just feels like that's how it would line up. Thursday night game and then maybe the bye after they play in Paris.
Ask you every week, but I feel like we'll just keep continuing it until we get a resolution. But anything you feel on Cam Jordan to this point?
I think the ball's in his court. It truly is. It's like if you want to be back, we have a 1-year contract for you to come back and maybe finish out your career with the Saints, or you can go sign with one of the other 2 teams that you said you have an offer from. But I still think that I still think he is. Probably better suited to be with the Saints I still think he either comes back or maybe he just doesn't play football again.
I guess we shall see. Not exactly a time crunch at this point now that we're post-draft and have a little bit of time before teams have to show up for training camp over a month away. So we'll see. Sharif, we appreciate some time. Have a great rest of your week.
You too, man. See you next.
He's Sharif Ishak, WDSU, down in New Orleans. All right, y'all, we're launching a little bit of giveaway is not the right word, even though there is a little bit of a giveaway portion here. But if you're into golf, never played simulator golf, or have played simulator golf and really like it, Swing Easy Golf Club is going to launch league play coming up in the very near future. Going to be on a midweek night. You're going to have scramble competitive action at Swing Easy Golf Club. If you are interested in joining that league and you want to win a spot in the league, you can do that via our text line. We're going to nominate 2 teams via our text line to compete in a scramble format at Swing Easy Golf Club, and the winning team is going to get a spot in Swing Easy Golf League coming up this summer. So if you are interested, just need 1 entry per team. We'll pick you, and then you can pick your teammate. Bring your teammate, I should say, but text the number, text Swing Easy, 1 word, text Swing Easy, 1 word, to 225-499-1045. 225-499-1045. Just text Swing Easy. Then be sure and register once you do text our text line. And we're going to get all the entries of the word Swing Easy. And we'll go through, we'll randomly pick 2 winners. Those 2 teams will compete at Swing Easy Golf Club. We'll be there. And we'll get you a couple swag bags. And we'll let you all compete. And the winner gets a spot in Swing Easy's Golf League coming up this summer. So if that's something you're interested in doing, text Swing Easy to 499-1045 in the 225 area code. That's 225-499-1045. And we'll get you registered. We'll pick a winner in about 2 weeks' time. Very much looking forward to that. We're going to go out to the competition and film a little social media content with y'all, and we'll see who's the team that qualifies for that league. But shout out to Swing Easy. Go see him on Segan at Perkins, Swing Easy Golf Club, swingeasygcbr.com. Still plenty to do here on this Tuesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. Do want to remind you that we have sports trivia tonight at Court to Table on Burbank, 8 o'clock. So if you're looking for something to do this evening, no midweek baseball, going out to Court to Table. You can get some great drinks, great food, win some gift cards, hang out. Always an enjoyable time there at Court to Table. We'll be there 8 o'clock. Have you out of there by about 9:15 at Sports Trivia from Court to Table. When we come back, Glenn West talking Tigers next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
GoTro's Outdoor Power, GoTrosOnline.com. 22 years in business for the GoTro family. Family-owned and operated local business, 2 locations, Airline Highway in Baton Rouge, and then, of course, in Gonzales as well. Drive by that location on Airline. You'll see that huge amount of Hustler inventory, all orange. It's the biggest in the state of Louisiana. They also have the largest parts inventory as well. They are the National Hustler Deal of the Year 2 of the last 3 years. So if you need a new zero turn for this grass-cutting season that we are very well in, go to GoTro's Outdoor Power. They've got financing available. They can get you behind the wheel of a new zero turn for $100 a month. Incredible, incredible stuff. So go by and see them, Airline Highway in Gonzales, or Airline Highway in Baton Rouge, or in Gonzales. It's GoTro's Outdoor Power. They're online at GoTrosOnline.com.
Transform your living space with Lacoste & Young Remodeling and take your home from outdated to outstanding. Redefine your kitchen for the ultimate culinary experience, or elevate your daily routine with a spa-worthy bathroom retreat. Our skilled team brings 3D modeling to life to ensure your vision becomes a reality. We believe luxury should be accessible and offer tailored solutions to fit your budget without compromising quality. So contact us today for a free estimate. Lacoste & Young Remodeling, providing perfect solutions for your dream home.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. Look, back pain can sideline you from the things you love. That's why I trust Dr. Kevin McCarthy and the team at the Spine Center of Louisiana. Dr. McCarthy doesn't just treat symptoms. He gets to the root of the problem. From advanced injection therapy to minimally invasive surgery, they've got the expertise to get you back in the game. With 5 locations across Louisiana, including right here in Baton Rouge, quality care is close to home. Call the Spine Center of Louisiana or visit spinela.com and tell them Matt sent you.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
As a business owner, you're always focused on how you can improve the bottom line. Well, when was the last time you shopped your insurance coverage? Insurance Network of Louisiana can help. If you're a business owner, let my friends at Insurance Network of Louisiana see if they can find you better coverage for less money. They always offer exceptional customer service and partner with only the
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Shout out to Immense Networks, Cloud IT Management. Looking for another IT option? Immense might be for you. Check them out online, immense.net, immense.net. Let's talk some Tigers. Glenn West, Go 24/7 senior writer, good enough to give us time on Tuesdays. With us now, Glenn, how are you?
I'm doing all right, Hunt. How about yourself?
I'm doing A-okay. Let's just talk about this pitching staff. I'll start open-ended for you. What has been the most surprising underachievement here from the pitching staff, either as a whole statistically or two or three aspects of it that just have not worked?
Yeah, I mean, I think if you're just talking about the pitching aspect, I think the free passes immediately come to mind. I don't know exactly where LSU ranks in terms of free passes. I haven't looked that up here since this last weekend, but they just consistently put themselves in bad positions when you're giving free passes to some of these elite hitting teams, and they've done that pretty consistently all season. I think that's probably been the big one for me. I think probably the maybe one area that I think LSU was really banking on taking that next step of development was this group of sophomore pitchers, and you certainly have seen them continue to try to grow, but look, it hasn't been the season that I don't think Kiffin Evans or William Schmidt really wanted, and certainly when you throw Maverick Rizzi and Cooper Williams into that picture as well, those were two guys that I think going into the season LSU expected to have major roles on this team, and I think Rizzi pitched maybe an inning or two this last weekend, but he and Cooper Williams have been pretty consistently out of the rotation here, or guys that LSU feels like are reliable options for several weeks now, and I just don't think that was really on the bingo card going into the year. I think those two were going to have big roles, but I think I think that the talent of Evans and Schmidt is something that I'm not willing to give up on. I think that those two guys with another year here can really develop into some really solid pitchers and be very important pieces to next year's team. But they no doubt are going through the ringer here a little bit in their sophomore seasons and have a lot of work to do this offseason to get better.
To answer your question, LSU dead last in the SEC with the most allowed walks. They are tied for third in terms of hit batsmen. Kentucky and Vanderbilt have both hit more than LSU, but Tigers third in that spot. So for free bases, LSU is far and away at the top of the SEC. How do you square that away? Do you think that's something philosophical? Do you think it's something in terms of pitch calling? Do you think it's just a lack of execution by some pitchers?
I'm sure it's a mixture of a lot of those things. I think, look, we know kind of the blueprint with Nate Yeskie. They are a very strikeout-heavy pitching staff. They have been for several years, and I think when you're aggressive as they are in terms of trying to get guys to strike out, you kind of sometimes leave yourself open to some aggressive misses and some misses that that lead to some more of those free passes. And I think the thing for me this year has been, not necessarily the misses, but it's just how far the misses have been. Like, it seems like a lot of these pitches, have been guys just completely losing control, and they're just kind of not really in the strike zone. And so, I think that, it's one thing to miss a pitch and feel like you still made a good pitch, but I think it's another thing to miss a pitch when you feel like you don't make a good pitch. And there's just been a lot of that, I think, within this pitching staff this year. And it's somethsomething that I think, Coach Yesky and a lot of these pitchers that they're able to bring back are going to have to go back to the drawing board and just try to figure out what kind of the common issues were with each individual guy, because I don't think it's something that you can lop into the entire staff. Like, I think that's something that Jay Johnson's pretty consistently talked about this year when we have asked him about some of these pitching issues, is that it really does come down to each individual guy. And so I'll be curious to see what they kind of find, at this time next year in terms of just if they can be a little bit more consistent in that area. But they faced an elite offense this last weekend, and they walked more batters than they struck out. And I don't think they've done that a whole ton throughout Coach Yesky's career at LSU. And an offense like Georgia is certainly going to make LSU pay, and they did this last weekend.
How much different do you think the pitching staff looks next year? Because there are a lot of guys with eligibility remaining.
Yeah, I think I kind of did this exercise, yesterday, just kind of looking ahead. Now that the season, I think whatever glimmer of hope you had on this season, it was officially dashed this last weekend. So I started looking ahead, and look, I think there are probably about 5 pitchers that I could, realistically say, hey, like, I think they've got a good shot at bringing these guys back. I think it's, Kason Evans, William Schmidt. I think, Danny Lockenmeyer is an interesting young left-handed pitcher that maybe they can continue to develop and have some kind of role. Freshman Marcos Paz, I think, is another one that I think LSU wants back in the fold and continuing to develop. But and then Cooper Moore would be the other one. Coming off of that injury, get another year of development for him, can be kind of maybe a steady arm for you next year. So those are kind of maybe the 5 that I see as kind of the most realistic options in terms of being back next year. But I do think you're going to have to be aggressive in the portal in terms of, building out that staff around those guys, because I think this, and certainly working in some of these freshman arms. This high school class is 24 strong. We'll see how many of them they're able to bring to campus, but they signed a really high class in terms of numbers this year, I think, to try to get some more youth pumped back into the program here. That was something that Jay Johnson mentioned, a couple weeks ago, that they really want to start leaning into a little bit more here going forward is internal development within the program. And so we'll see kind of what happens with the portal. I think you have to be aggressive, though, and go, maybe find a guy that you think could be a starter, maybe 1 or 2 guys you think could be a starter, and then certainly build out the rest of your staff with some high velocity arms, some guys with good left-handed action and good arm slots and things of that nature. I think there's a lot they're going to need to accomplish here on the mound going forward.
Question: did y'all meet with Jay Johnson today?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow,
okay.
okay.
12:15. Yeah.
A question I would have, and I'm curious your thoughts on this. I think I know my answer, but I'm just curious. Do you think he will manage this weekend, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, with next week in mind? Or do you think he'll just play it normally?
Yeah, I was thinking about that this last weekend too, as kind of this Georgia series is unfolded. And I look, if postseason is on his mind, or if trying to get as long into this season is on his mind, then I think he will. Like, I mean, I think you have to set yourself up for as much opportunity as you can in Hoover. You're going to have to probably win. I think 6 games in 6 days, or 5 games in 6 days. I can't remember exactly what it is, but they're going to be playing on that first day for sure. And do you want to burn some of your better arms this weekend, knowing what you have coming up in Hoover, and the fact that you're playing for your season and whatnot? But I do think that look, you only have so many options, and you can only do so many different things. And so maybe you start with the same guys, but maybe you limit their pitch count so they can be available a little earlier in the weekend. And certainly I think it depends on how LSU plays, offensively in terms of getting yourself a lead and things of that nature. But I know Jay Johnson a little bit in terms of just his identity and how he likes to go about things, and he's very much on to the next game, like very next game center oriented, and how do we win the next game. But I do have curiosity, because this is a position they haven't really been in under his tenure here, where you're playing for basically your postseason lives. Or just your season lives. And so it'll be very interesting to see what he decides, but that will definitely be a question I think we have for him tomorrow.
I'm fascinated by that because he gives you 56-game playoff all the time, but if you feel like the postseason is the most important thing, like throwing William Schmidt 104 pitches on a Thursday and then not having him available until maybe the following Wednesday, I would suggest you probably need to limit those guys' innings and really kind of toss Saturday in the garbage heap because it doesn't. You finish 11-17 in the league, or 11-19 in the league. Like that's not going to help you. Like you got to go win every game in Hoover.
Yeah, and I think the other thing there is I think you just also have to go by what Jay Johnson has talked about for the last month, and he's very, very much been next year oriented. I think with the fact that he's playing all these freshmen and the fact that he's getting a lot of these guys that he thinks could be involved heavily next year on the mound. So maybe that does play a factor into it. I would probably guess that if they're able to build a lead early in any of these games, that some of these starters or some of these guys that you're going to have to really rely on early next week could see their pitch counts a little more limited. But that's just a pure guess on my part. And knowing Jay Johnson, I'm sure he'll probably say tomorrow, I'm just focused on the game in front of us. I'm sure he'll give us the coach speak there, but I will be curious to see how that plays out this weekend.
I am as well. One more here. Let's talk a little bit about basketball. Will Wade is slowly but surely getting announcements from overseas and elsewhere to put this roster together. What are your early impressions?
Yeah, they've gotten 2 guards and 2 forwards. Marcio Santos, I think, is a really interesting piece. They got him last week. Very offensive-oriented forward, a guy that's physical, is 23 years old. Somebody that I think is going to be able to come in and be a good scoring punch for LSU. You got Abdi Bashir and Divine Ugochukwu. Those are 2 guards that I think are going to be able to space the floor for you. They got some decent length for their size. They'll be active defensively, but I think their 3-point shooting is what LSU's really banking on. Having success with in this roster, and then obviously you got the Muhammad Diabate, who is very defensive oriented. I think can be a central piece to whatever it is you want to do defensively. But there's still some work to be done out there. They've got 4 that are official, and I would imagine by the end of this thing, they have probably, like Coach Wade said, 8 or 9 guys that they feel like are going to be their main rotation players. I've seen a lot of the reports and rumors out there that they're going after another, French big man in Bryce Desert, and we'll see kind of what happens there officially if that kind of comes up into fruition over the next several days. But they're working on a lot of different things right now. I still think you probably need a lead guard. I think you probably need some size in terms of a big man. So we'll see kind of how this looks, in a couple weeks. But I think that they're well on their way to building out a really interesting, fun roster, and a lot of names that we're going to have to spend the next couple months learning how to write out on paper
and say out loud, which can be even more difficult at times. All right, Glenn, we appreciate the time. Have a good week.
All right, thanks, Art.
He's Glenn West, senior editor of Go 24/7. Fabry Chevrolet GMC, FabryChevrolet.com, FabryChevrolet.com. The entire inventory is online at FabryChevrolet.com. You can also see it in person, Highway 61 in St. Francisville. Under new ownership, the Fabry family since October the 1st, coming up on a year now after the summer months are in the rearview mirror, and they're just thrilled to have that spot there in St. Francisville. If you're looking for a new Chevy Silverado, if you're looking for a GMC Sierra, either of those new trucks, they're right there on Highway 61 in St. Francisville at FabryChevrolet.com. You're going to get a fantastic customer experience, great buying experience, great service after the sale as well. Go by and see them, Highway 61 in St. Francisville, or online at FabryChevrolet.com. That's interesting that I honestly, until I sat down and talked to Glenn, had not considered this. If I were Jay Johnson, I would have to give serious consideration Monday, Tuesday of this week, so yesterday and today, to limiting William Schmidt and Kason Evans and Zach Cowan and even Marcos Paz to 35 or 40 pitches this weekend. Because realistically, even with all those guys ready to go, you're probably not going to sweep Florida. And if you sweep Florida, you get to 12-18. If you sweep them, you get to 12-18. And then you still have to go make a run in Hoover. So you might as well play the percentages, limit those guys' pitch counts a ton. If you lose all 3 games, who cares? 9-21, 8-22, whatever. And then try to go win the whole thing in Hoover. And line Schmidt up on Tuesday and Paz up on Wednesday and Kaysen up on Thursday and see where you go from there Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I'm not suggesting any of that's likely. It's extremely unlikely. But it's probably what I would do because trying to win the SEC tournament is certainly more important than trying to win 3 games against Florida. I've been asked, what if you sweep Florida, go 12-18, and then you get all the way to the final of the SEC tournament? Like, I don't think that's enough to get in, but I don't know that. It's all silly conjecture anyway because they haven't shown they can beat good teams. They're 0-12 against teams with a winning record in the league. So they're going to go to Hoover and sweep everything? I don't think so. But I would probably try. I would probably hold my guys this weekend, get them out there, but for 35 pitches, like a big bullpen, mix and match any which way Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then show up in Hoover and say, all right, we're going to win Tuesday, we're going to win Wednesday, we're going to keep rolling. It's all single elimination next week, so we'll see. But that's probably what I would do. I don't know if that's a smart idea or not, but it's what I would do. Speaking of what I would do or what I wouldn't do, Kentucky's canceling a baseball game tonight. I'll talk about that and what I think that means next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Highland Insurance Group, HighlandIG.com. HighlandIG.com is the website. If you are a sizable organization, you spend a sizable amount on your annual insurance premiums, you have great loss history and a great risk management department. How about a captive? If you have not looked into a captive for your commercial insurance needs, why? Is it because your current broker doesn't have access to one, or because your current broker doesn't know about them, or maybe because you just haven't called the Highland Insurance Group? If you're a big organization, sizable premium, great loss history, a captive could be a game changer for your bottom line in terms of insurance costs. The Highland Insurance Group deals with captives every single day. Reach out at HighlandIG.com. They're based here in Baton Rouge. Happy to have a conversation or meeting with you to have that discussion and maybe see if a captive is right for you. It's the Highland Insurance Group. They're online at HighlandIG.com.
If your office is experiencing performance issues like slow networks, jammed printers, or disappearing files, Advanced Office Systems may be right for you. With powerful IT solutions, print management, document imaging, and security systems, they help offices regain confidence naturally. Side effects may include uncontrollable efficiency, smoother workflows, and a sudden burst of office joy. Say goodbye to those emotional breakdowns in the supply closet and get back on track with Advanced Office Systems.
When it comes to industrial construction, River Parish Contractors can do it all. Mechanical, structural, custom fabrication, specialized welding, and turnaround services. Strategically located in between Baton Rouge and New Orleans, we have the local team with the experience and commitment to safety to manage the most complex industrial projects. Period. Here's the deal. Partnering with us means your project is delivered on time, on budget, and most important, safely. River Parish Contractors, let's get building.
At Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer, we know hard work starts with the right equipment. Right now, take advantage of the powerful 3025E tractor with loader for just $297 a month, with 0% financing for 72 months. Whether you're tackling land, property, or projects, this is the tractor built to get it done. Don't wait. This offer ends April 30th, 2026. Visit sunequip.com or stop by a Sunshine location today.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. Look, back pain can sideline you from the things you love. That's why I trust Dr. Kevin McCarthy and the team at the Spine Center of Louisiana. Dr. McCarthy doesn't just treat symptoms. He gets to the root of the problem. From advanced injection therapy to minimally invasive surgery, they've got the expertise to get you back in the game. With 5 locations across Louisiana, including right here in Baton Rouge, quality care is close to home. Call the Spine Center of Louisiana or visit spinecenterla.com.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Man, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Tuesday show is brought to you by Immense IT Networks. They're online at immense.net, immense.net. If your IT department feels overworked or you're not happy with a third-party IT contractor that you've brought in, check out Immense. Go check them out at immense.net. They're fantastic. They're consultative and they're relationship-based, and they want to help your business grow with the use of IT. When you think of IT, you just think, oh, well, this person's computer's frozen. Can you fix that? Or they clicked on that email. Can you deal with that? And certainly break fix is something that Immense can help you with, but they also want to help your business grow. They also want to monitor your system 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, so you understand that there are always threats, and they can be out in front of those in a proactive manner because they're monitoring your system. It's Immense IT Networks. You can find them online at immense.net. All right, Kentucky released a statement from its baseball program. I'll just read it to you. They're supposed to play Northern Kentucky tonight in a midweek game to finish out the midweek slate. Kentucky's Tuesday game with Northern Kentucky has been canceled and will not be made up. Tuesday night's game versus Northern Kentucky is canceled in a mutual decision by both teams. Our team faced multiple extended delays over the weekend, extensive travel days, and challenging rest and recovery periods. We play a critically important conference series beginning Thursday that demands putting our student athletes in the best possible position for success. That, folks, is incredibly considerate of Kentucky to protect their student athletes after long delays of sitting at the field and extended travel days. That's just kind of par for the course. But Kentucky is getting out in front of this. They're canceling the game so their guys can get. I'm sure they won't practice today because they got to get rest. Probably won't practice for their series against Arkansas where the season lays in the balance because they've got to rest. They had a hard travel schedule. Delays. My goodness, delays. Maybe, though, it has to do with the fact that Northern Kentucky's RPI is 276th. 276th. Maybe it has to do with the fact that Kentucky is squarely on the bubble. They got 12 league wins. They need to get another one against Arkansas at least. And if they lose to Northern Kentucky on a Tuesday, their RPI is going to tumble into the low 30s, maybe close to 40, because you would lose to a team that's 276th in the RPI. But I'm sure it's just scheduling. Just long delays, brutal travel. Where'd y'all come from, Australia? Or no? Oh, Gainesville. You came from Gainesville, Florida. Like 3 states away. Okay. Look, y'all, this is not new. Ole Miss has done it. There are other teams that have done this, canceling that last midweek game. I don't like it. I don't like it. I understand it's within your right to cancel the game. The NCAA is not happy about this. They've issued a memo suggesting that canceling games for non-weather-related reasons is unacceptable. You just got to put in a rule that says you can't do this. And it's hard to know who's going to be good and who's going to be bad. There are some years you may play Southeastern, their RPI might be 65. You might play them another year if you're LSU, and it might be 205. It's hard to know. But canceling games is not the way to run a sport. Can't decide what games you want to play once the schedule's on. You're in charge of your schedule. I just don't like canceling in the middle. And this, when I talk about public relations all the time, you just lie to people. It's just a lie. They just lied and made that up. because they don't want to play the game for RPI reasons. Is what it is. Hour 2 next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Boudreaux's Electrical Services. Boudreaux's Electrical Services. Some call it over-planning. Boudreaux's Electrical Services, they just call it foresight. You know that next power outage is coming. Might be a winter event like we had last year, this year too. Might be a hurricane. Might be one of those afternoon storms. Might be it's hot. Might be somebody ran into a power line. I don't know what the next source of your power outage is going to be, but you can make sure it doesn't affect you when you put that Generac home standby generator in, courtesy of the folks of Boudreaux's Electrical Services. They'll monitor it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So if there's any sort of mechanical issue, they'll know about it. They can send a local team out to go ahead and handle that maintenance and make sure you're up and running when the power goes out next. Call Neil and Melissa. They've been running the show at Boudreaux's Electrical for 40 years. 985-397-1562. That's 985-397-1562. Or in Gonzales, 225-393-89.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
At Parrish, we bring the same commitment to your home that champions bring to the game.
Do business with someone you know.
Parrish Construction and Roofing.
Parrish Construction and Roofing. ParrishBuilt.com.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. Look, back pain can sideline you from the things you love. That's why I trust Dr. Kevin McCarthy and the team at the Spine Center of Louisiana. Dr. McCarthy doesn't just treat symptoms. He gets to the root of the problem. From advanced injection therapy to minimally invasive surgery, they've got the expertise to get you back in the game. With 5 locations across Louisiana, including right here in Baton Rouge, quality care is close to home. Call the Spine Center of Louisiana or visit spinela.com and tell them Matt sent you.
Hi, this is Beth Serena. Welcome to my pool. The first time I saw this beautiful pool, it exceeded every expectation that I had. They were able to get everything we wanted in this pool. It is a beautiful pool. We live out here, we eat out here, we watch TV out here. This is like our living room outside. We love this pool and everything about it. When we decided to build our pool, we called a great friend who is one of the best pool builders in the country in North Louisiana, and we said, who would you choose to build a pool in Baton Rouge? And without a hesitation, he told us Russell Pools. He said their history, tradition of great builds, great pools was unmatched. So of course, who did we call? Russell Pools. The advice I would give to anyone looking to build a pool is first call Russell Pools. They'll do an incredible job. It'll be incredibly organized, it'll be time efficient, and you will have your pool in no time.
I'm Gabrielle McLeod on behalf of the Louisiana Propane Dealers. I have spent hundreds of hours preparing for scholarship competitions. That preparation paid off when I won the Fitness and Talent Awards along with the title of Miss Louisiana. The Louisiana Propane Dealers are also pretty talented and want you to be prepared for when the power goes out. Visit LouisianaPropane.com to find out about propane generators and other safety tips. Louisiana Propane, it truly is the fuel for our future.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Breaking news. Memphis Grizzlies forward Brandon Clark has died at the age of 29. No word yet on the cause of death. Clark was arrested back in April for speeding and possession of a controlled substance and was released on bond on April 2nd. Lakers president of basketball operations and GM Rob Pelinka and coach J.J. Redick held their end-of-season press conference today. They spoke on a wide variety of topics, including LeBron James, who was non-committal on his future last night. L.A. will allow James the time he needs, says Pelinka.
The thing we want to do more than anything else is honor him back
And I think the first order of business there is allowing him to spend the time he needs to decide what his next step are. Does he want to play another year in the NBA? Of course, any team, including ours, would love to have LeBron James on their roster. That's a blessing in itself, just with what he does.
Spurs host the Timberwolves Game 5, 7:30 Eastern, ESPN Radio Series 2-2. Second round Stanley Cup playoffs, down 2-1. Sabres star goaltender Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen in Game 3 tonight against the Canadiens, 7 Eastern, ESPN.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ, Chris Candy. Coming up Tuesday, it's NFL schedule release week, and I'll tell you my top 5 games I'm most excited about this upcoming season. It's on Sportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Now, the Hunt Palmer Show.
Yes! I feel like I've been waiting for this my entire life.
You're listening to the Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Jolly good fun. Jolly good.
Locking down the middle of the day.
America's favorite daytime fun show.
Live from the Raising Cane studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
Hour 2, Tuesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show, 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge. Talk some LSU baseball in 15 minutes. I've got some thoughts on Mason Braun's freshman season that I want to talk some statistics to back up just how good he's been, especially of late. So we'll get to that in 15 minutes. We'll start on the football side of things, though. Right now, Lane Kiffin obviously made some waves with his sit down with Vanity Fair. Also took a chance to sit down with Wilson Alexander, formerly of The Advocate, now national college football reporter with On3. Wilson writes, Lane Kiffin is chasing greatness after leaving Ole Miss for LSU. Wilson joins us now on Jim's Firearms Hotline to have that discussion about what he heard from LSU's new head coach. Wilson, thanks for the time. How's it going?
It's going well. I think that headline probably should have said something like Lane Kiffin is chasing greatness and still stirring the pot now that he's at LSU.
Let's talk about that. I mean, I'm curious how this story came to be. Was it something you wanted a reaction to Vanity Fair? Were you already planning on talking to him? Because I know that dropped yesterday and then yours came out earlier today. So what's the genesis of this discussion?
I talked to Lane last Thursday,
okay.
Well before the Vanity Fair piece came out. We sat in his office for 45 minutes, and my story was actually written yesterday morning before the Vanity Fair story came out. And I just, because that garnered so much attention, I then followed up with Lane and got asked for his comments if there was anything that he wanted to add to that quote that he had given to Vanity Fair, especially given the reaction to it. And so we just included that in the broader profile of him here at LSU. But this is something that's been in the works for us for a few weeks now, at least going back and forth with LSU about when we could get a date, and then finally doing it on Thursday.
Why do you think it's important for Lane Kiffin to sit down with Vanity Fair, with On3 national outlets, and speak?
Why is it important? Well, that's an interesting question. I think for Lane, I mean, it's attention. Yeah. It's being in the spotlight. It's being able to show sort of, he's always craved that. And he talks a lot about sort of trying to work on that, but that's still a part of his personality. That being in the news cycle and being in that attention is kind of, part of what he likes to do. And now he's got a great opportunity to do so because he's going into his first season as the LSU coach. He was the story of the second half of the season last year, that everything was higher. And so I think having sort of a chance to talk about that is something that is appealing to him and kind of give his side of things.
Do you think it's important for Lane Kiffin to be liked, or do you think he's of the mind that any press is good press?
I think that he's probably of the mind any press is good press. He wants to be liked. I mean, certainly by the place that he is at currently in particular. I mean, he talked about how it sort of cut something in him when that he was walking onto the plane and saw everybody, all those Ole Miss fans, flicking him off and yelling at him and all that. Like he says, like, I'm human. Like it gets to him. But it also is more important for him, I think, to really kind of be able to connect with wherever he is currently. And is clearly, I mean, he's done this multiple times, kind of take some shots at the places that he's left. At the same time, he talks about how he saw it as a successful, relationship for 6 years and all that, and appreciative of his time. But then, says other stuff that kind of maybe seems a little bit unnecessary on the way out the door.
I don't disagree with that at all. I'm talking with Wilson Alexander from On 3. He's got a story up about Lane Kiffin right now at the website. Highly recommend you go check it out. Here's one of the quotes, Wilson, that I wanted your comment on. He said, "I know this will show for me being the right decision, speaking of leaving Ole Miss to go to LSU. It may not be this year because everybody's going to want to compare the two places and everything like that. It'll show in year 2, 3. What do you think that means? Is it lowering expectations, or do you think that's just what he believes reality to be?"
He's been lowering expectations a few times. Remember at one of his press conferences, I guess it's right at the start of the spring, when he kind of tried to tamp down expectations. Good luck, Lane, in trying to do that.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a $40 million plus roster. LSU is chomping at the bit to get back to the college football playoff. And that is the broad expectation for this program this year. And I think Lane recognizes that, but, it's sort of a coach strategy to try to maybe tamp down that a little bit. He's also in that quote sort of comparing the two places, right? And like, okay, why leave Ole Miss at a time when you had just gone to the playoff and you kind of got the program rolling? And he thinks that long term, it really spoke to sort of long term. He thinks it's the decision that's going to be the best one for him was to go to LSU. But he knows that this season, Ole Miss could be pretty good. I mean, he said himself, this didn't get into the story, but he said how Trinidad Chambliss and Keywan Lacey are two of the most dynamic players on offense in the entire country, and Ole Miss has got them coming back. And so I think he recognizes that, especially early in the season when this team is coming together, LSU might not be favored, or could lose that game at Oxford.
You've talked to him about recruiting and the advantages that LSU offers. He's now gotten a little bit more of that than the just fire hose he was drinking out of for the first 5 days he was on campus. What's your sense on Lane's comfort recruiting at LSU and maybe how it compares to Ole Miss?
I think he enjoys it quite a bit. I mean, we had a stat in there how he's already signed or received commitments from 4 5-star recruits after having one in his entire tenure at Ole Miss. There's sort of an access to talent and a proximity to talent that you just don't necessarily have at Ole Miss. And that's, I think, that's certainly one of the points he was making to us in our conversation when we talked about the differences between the jobs, is that he can get that at LSU. And that was one of the things that was most appealing, and why the reason why he thinks that he has a better chance to win championships and have sort of a long-term success at LSU than he would have by staying at Ole Miss. And I don't necessarily disagree, but he also recognized, as everybody else can see, that there's so much more parity in college football that's not necessarily the advantage that it used to be, but he says that it is still one.
And the last quote that I wanted to get your thoughts on and some context behind is talking about when he compares the relationship with Ole Miss to the divorce. And he said, there's this divorce, but man, there's great memories. They had these amazing 6 years together. Didn't like how it ended as far as the decision was and the timing of the divorce, but the 6 years were amazing. Do you think in his mind that there's a chance that people at Ole Miss will forgive him and remember the good times, or is he just purely stirring the pot with that?
He seems to want people to. Like, he really seems to want people to, except that in this analogy of the divorce, he's the one who just decided to leave and uproots throws this crazy wrench into the family dynamic and goes and marries some other girl kind of thing, and leaves everybody sort of scrambling and trying to understand why. So he doesn't have to, deal with the hiccup and all that and the mess as much. And so, but he does. I mean, he said that multiple times during our interview, just that he sees this as 6 great years, and the timing and the ending wasn't ideal, but they accomplished so much together. He's hoping that people will see it as mutually beneficial, and maybe there was a chance for that in time, and maybe there still is a chance for that in time, but not anytime soon, and especially after the comments that went viral that he told Vanity Fair.
And that's what I'll leave you with here, Wilson, is this was not in your interview as the Vanity Fair piece, but you've obviously asked for comment on that. And one of the pieces in the Vanity Fair is I can't tell if he's genuine and just really, really emotionally invested in this, or if he's just kind of, for lack of a better term, full of it. And I think he's an enigma to a lot of people. Is there something that has stood out to you, or do you feel like you've got a pretty good read on him from the times you spent one-on-one with him?
What you mean? Like if he's an enigma or if he's full of it?
Yeah, basically. I mean, I realize that's black and white and there's always shades of gray, but it's just, he's hard to figure out from where I'm sitting. I'm not across the table from him ever.
Yeah, no, he is hard to figure out. As somebody told me who's covered Lane for a long time, going into this interview that he's a tough nut to crack, and he really kind of is, because he'll say a lot of things that sound really nice, and he was trying to say a few times how appreciative he was of his time at Ole Miss, but then he just can't help but stir the pot and instigate. Yeah. And so I think there's a little bit of both. I think there probably is a gray area, like most things, that he can be sincere, but he can also be completely full of it at times.
He is Wilson Alexander with On 3, the story titled Lane Kiffin is Chasing Greatness After Leaving Ole Miss for LSU. Highly suggest you go over to On 3 and check it out. Wilson, we haven't spoken since you made the move over. Many congrats to the move up to the national beat, and we'll talk again soon, okay?
Thanks for having me, Hunt. Appreciate that. He
is Wilson Alexander with On 3. And, of course, Wilson spent a lot of time with The Advocate covering the LSU football beat, and now has moved on nationally and is doing an awesome job. Great stuff here on the Lane Kiffin deal. It's something nobody's completely nailing down. I think it depends kind of on where you are, and I think that folks skew towards not giving Lane the benefit of the doubt and feeling like he stirred in the pot, like Wilson said, or is kind of full of it, or is a used car salesman, or will never change, and all this kind of stuff. And then there's a part of Lane Kiffin that does feel human at times, dealing with some things that are difficult. And like if you put aside some stuff and look at others, you can see, like, I did like it at Ole Miss. I wanted to coach that team in the playoff. I was proud of what we did there. I liked those players, and I had a great relationship with the athletic director. But, like, I also saw an opportunity that I thought was better. Because you think LSU is a better opportunity than Ole Miss doesn't mean you hate Ole Miss or you've treated Ole Miss like dirt, or, like, there just wasn't another option. Like, if he doesn't take the LSU job, he can never take the LSU job. If he doesn't take the Florida job, he can never take it. Potentially. And you never know when that opportunity is going to rise. And it did, and it was at a bad time for him. If they were ticketed for the Liberty Bowl, none of this would have mattered. But they weren't. And so that's where this whole thing gets drummed up. I told you this at the very beginning of the show today. Very first thing I said, like, this is not my favorite talking point. And it is the national story. Vanity Fair wrote it. Wilson wrote it for On 3. I think I just saw something that came out from like Sporting News. Like it's the gift that keeps on giving nationally and garners tons of clicks. I just saw a ridiculous thing on my Facebook feed that had a guy comparing the crime statistics between Oxford and Baton Rouge as if that has anything to do with anything that's going on. And it had like tens of thousands of views on the crime rates, which are completely irrelevant to the entire story. But that's how people want to read this stuff. They want to see this stuff. I don't have to fall in that camp. I'm ready to watch them play football, not talk to Vanity Fair. But such is life. That's kind of where we are on the calendar at this point. So appreciate Wilson for adding some color to the conversation and for coming on and giving us a little bit of time here on this Tuesday. Let's switch over to baseball, shall we? I want to talk a little bit about Mason Braun. I'm going to do that when we come back.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Speaking of baseball, Marucci's got you covered from a baseball perspective. If you got a young baseball player under your roof, young softball player under your roof, and he or she just wants to improve, wants to get better, wants to spend time in the cage, wants to pitch, even if it's rainy outside or it's dark or it's early in the morning before school, become a member over at Marucci. You can get key card access to the hitter's house. That'll allow you morning, afternoon, and night to go in there, take some swings, get some pitches thrown. It's a great resource here in Baton Rouge. So if you hadn't considered that and don't have a great place to go when the weather's not very good and still want to get some swings in on a Saturday morning or a Tuesday evening, Marucci can offer that to you if you become a member. Take a tour of Marucci as well. You can find tickets at maruccisports.com/campus-tour, and every single tour comes with a discount in the Campus Tour store as well as the Hitter's House. It's online at maruccisports.com. It's Marucci.
If your office is experiencing performance issues like slow networks, jammed printers, or disappearing files, Advanced Office Systems may be right for you. With powerful IT solutions, print management, document imaging, and security systems, they help offices regain confidence naturally. Side effects may include uncontrollable efficiency, smoother workflows, and a sudden burst of office joy. Say goodbye to those emotional breakdowns in the supply closet and get back on track with Advanced Office Systems.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. Look, back pain can sideline you from the things you love. That's why I trust Dr. Kevin McCarthy and the team at the Spine Center of Louisiana. Dr. McCarthy doesn't just treat symptoms. He gets to the root of the problem. From advanced injection therapy to minimally invasive surgery, they've got the expertise to get you back in the game. With 5 locations across Louisiana, including right here in Baton Rouge, quality care is close to home. Call the Spine Center of Louisiana or visit spinela.com and tell them Matt sent you.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
After a decade of working in private duty nursing, I know how hard it can be to find compassionate care for the ones that you love the most. So I started Decision Critical, a premier concierge nursing agency, so we can take care of you wherever you are. Our highly skilled nurses provide exceptional care from the comfort of your own home with personalized packages for short-term, long-term, or even around-the-clock care. Visit us at decisioncriticalbr.com and give us a call today to get started.
Looking for cleaner energy? Propane is energy for everyone. And when you're cooking with clean, affordable propane, you're cooking with gas. In the wintertime, nothing heats a home like Louisiana propane. And when you need hot water, propane's got you covered. Oh, and you won't regret that propane generator when the power goes out.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Had told me on February 14th that on May the 12th, I would be an hour and 18 minutes into my show before we talked about baseball, I would have laughed in your face or thought something really horrible had happened. And other than the fact that LSU's lost a ton of baseball games, like, not horrible, just it's not newsworthy. They are not in a situation that dictates a lot of talk. We certainly discussed it with Glenn in hour number 1, but I haven't given any thoughts on baseball today because there aren't a lot of thoughts here. They don't have a midweek game. They're going to play out the string against Florida, and then they'll go to Hoover and see how long their season lasts. And that's going to be the end of that. And then after that, they'll have some exit meetings, send some guys off to summer ball, send some guys toward the draft, and start working on next year's roster. And that's just vomit-inducing to talk about, but it is what it is. One of the guys who should be a key part of next year is Mason Braun. And I wrote about him for LouisianaSports.net this morning and his trajectory this season. I think it's really exciting. One, Braun came in as one of the lesser heralded freshmen in the class as a whole. Keep in mind, they got crushed by the Major League Baseball draft last year. So Braun was one of the few guys on the signing class that wasn't a huge draft. Certainly some, but you're talking about a limited athlete who's like 6'1", throws left-handed. Like he's not a huge draft prospect. Like power hitters need to be like 6'4", 6'5". He's not played first base. He's not a fast outfielder. He doesn't have a cannon of an arm. He's a good high school hitter. He's already a good college hitter, and that's all anybody cares about in Baton Rouge. But as far as the major leagues go, he wasn't a huge draft risk because he doesn't have premium tools. There were guys in that draft recruiting class that were huge draft picks that went. So Braun wasn't one of the most highly heralded guys, but he got here in the fall, and he hit, and then he got here in the preseason in January, and he hit everything in sight. And I remember having a conversation with somebody inside the program, and I've said this before on the air, and they just said, this guy rakes. And that was before he'd ever played a college game. And I put in my preseason predictions, I don't even remember what 3 of the predictions were. I'm going to go back and get that piece when the season's over next week, and then we'll do a reaction how I did and how I didn't do, and I got a feeling it didn't go very well. But I know that one of my predictions was that Mason Braun would have like 4 postseason at-bats. And that was rooted in he'll either start for like a regional team, even if they get beat in the regional, he'll get at-bats, or he'll be a guy that pinch hits against right-handers, and he'll get 4 postseason at-bats. And that's actually going to end up not being true, but it would be true if they made the postseason. So I thought he'd be a good player. And he ended up earning the opening day start. I don't know if y'all recall that, but he was a little bit of a surprise in the opening day lineup. And he started the season 8 for 19. That's .421. Got off to a really nice start. And then those freshman struggles crept in. And from February 27th to March 27th, one exact month, he was 3 for 28. That's a .07. And he didn't make the everyday lineup, pinch hit a little bit, but the older players got their chances. Zach York was in there every day. They played a lot of Tanner Reeves. They played some Braden Simpson. Even when Stanfield got out, Daniel Harden played. Like, Braun didn't get a lot of opportunities. Some, but not a lot. And he kept grinding and kept working, and finally got his chance every day in the Ole Miss weekend. And since the series opener at Ole Miss, he's 21 out of 60. That's a .350 batting average, but he's also got 14 walks, and he's been hit by a pitch 4 different times. So in 19 games, he's been on 39 times. That's more than twice a game he's getting on base at the leadoff spot. There's only been 3 out of those 19 games that he didn't reach a base at all. And over a stretch from the UNO midweek game to game 1 at Georgia, he scored in 10 straight games. You look at his statistical on-base percentage, he's at .481 this year as a freshman. There's a lot of SEC plate appearances there for a .481 on-base average from Mason Braun. That's really exciting. It's something that Jay Johnson said earlier in this season, and it drew a lot of attention, and I wrote about it and I talked about it, when he was talking about chasing power in the transfer portal. He said, we're not going to do that. We're going to let guys develop their power within the program. And he mentioned Jared Jones, and he mentioned Jake Braun, and he mentioned Ethan Fry, and those guys that came in at differing levels, hit home runs early, but really grew into power in their final season at LSU. Jake Braun had 12 total homers in his first 120 games. 12 in 120. This year, 16 in 41. Like, he went from good athlete, can swing the bat a little bit, playing as a freshman, to platoon against right-handers, little bit of pop, to boom, power hitter. Year 3. Ethan Fry didn't play as a freshman on a championship team, was hurt all of his sophomore year. He did not hit a home run his first 2 years. None. No homers his first 2 years. Last year, he hit 13. In his first 2 years, he had 4 extra base hits combined. He had 13 homers last year. One other guy didn't take him 3 years, it took him a year and a half, but Cade Arambidi hit 4 homers last year. He played in 36 games. That's kind of similar to what Mason Braun has played in this year. And this year he's exploded. He's got 16 home runs. And Mason Braun profiles as a power hitter. At the MLB Draft Showcase, he hit the longest home run out of any prospect there. He hit it 445 feet. He hit 3 balls over 400 feet. That was tied for the most at the Showcase. And he has not hit for power this year. He hasn't. He's got 3 homers and 120 at-bats. But he's seeing pitches. He's taking pitches. He's hitting the ball hard up the middle. He's pulling the ball through the hole. He's hitting line drives. He's hitting doubles. And like Braun, like Arambidi, showing some tools early like Fry. And then eventually, that power's going to come. Mason Braun is going to be a feared power hitter by the time he leaves LSU. He's not right now, but he will be because he's showing that he's not overmatched at this level. A .481 on-base percentage will do that. leading the team in on base as a true freshman, shows you're not overmatched. He's not striking out a ton. He's striking out a little bit, not a ton. But once he gets more comfortable, those line drives up the middle are going to start becoming rockets over the center field wall. He'll identify pitches more early. He'll get his front foot down, and he'll play out in front of home plate, and that's where your power comes from when you can catch the ball out in front of home plate. This is the formula Jay Johnson wants to use. He's going to want to go in the transfer portal and get an elite glove man at shortstop. Get a speedy table setter at second. Go find somebody that can really run to play center field. And let the guys he's brought in from the high school ranks slug. Aaron Beatty, Cerna, Braun. Even Patrick has a frame to hit for some more pop. You've seen Steven Milam grow into his power. That's no exception. Never really happened for Derek Curiel, but he's still a great hitter. But that's the model that Jay Johnson is telling us that he wants to use. Bring in the really good hitters, get them in the weight room, let them hit and hit and hit, and they'll progress to be stars. Because what I say with the transfer portal guys, you go get power from the portal and it doesn't produce power, well, what does it produce for you? Nothing. No defense, no running, no dynamic ability on the bases, just a lack of power. So grow those guys, because the best prospects LSU has gotten have oftentimes been high school guys on the position player side. Yes, there's always a Tommy White, but for the most part, position player guys that have been in the program for a long time have helped. Jones, Fry, Curiel, Milam, Braun, Aaron Beatty, even guys before he got here with Dugas and Beloso and Cruz, Jones. These are homegrown guys. Bring in the Stanfields from the portal. Bring in the Dickinsons from the portal. Those guys are the ones that can help you defense, run, hit for some average, set the table. Those elite level slug guys, grow them from the high school ranks. Yeah, Tommy White hit a ton of homers. Luis Hernandez, big home runs. Jacob Berry, I count him as a high school guy, because he signed with Jay Johnson out of high school. But Mason Braun's on a great trajectory, and he's going to have prodigious power. He's 6'1", 215 right now. He plays late next year at 6'1", 225, 6'1", 230 maybe, with that kind of muscle mass. And as good as his eye is, and as often as he's finding the barrel right now, he'll start to create some backspin. He'll start to run the ball out of the yard. He'll be a huge power hitter. He, Aaron Beatty, and Cerna are going to be a force in the middle of the lineup next year. And I think this year's a really positive for Mason Braun. I enjoyed digging those stats up and writing about it over at LouisianaSports.net. If you want to go check that out, a little baseball to cleanse your palate, you can certainly do that. Brought to you by Immense Networks Cloud IT Management. Take a timeout. Does Will Wade have his eyes on another international player? Sounds like it from the overseas Twitter pages. We'll talk about it next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Let me tell you about One Bath & Closets. OneBathAndClosets.com is the website. David Duvall and his team, 30 years redesigning and remodeling bathrooms and closets. Tub-to-shower conversions, it's their bread and butter over at One Bath & Closets. If you've got this tub that you don't use, get rid of it. If you've got a tub that doesn't function anymore, don't pay the handy guy down the street some cash to see if he can fix it, rig it up. No, call David Duvall at One Bath & Closets. He's got 30 years of experience. He can come in and handle that tub removal, put that shower in. Tubs take a lot of space. Use that space for a shower. Walk in, change the functionality and the look of your bathroom. It's One Bath & Closets. Go to the website, onebathandclosets.com. Check out the great work that they do with the pictures. Get that free consultation. See the satisfied customers with the reviews. Start that process with David today. It's One Bath & Closets online at onebathandclosets.com.
When it comes to industrial construction, River Parish Contractors can do it all. Mechanical, structural, custom fabrication, specialized welding, and turnaround services. Strategically located in between Baton Rouge and New Orleans, we have the local team with the experience and commitment to safety to manage the most complex industrial projects. Period. Here's the deal. Partnering with us means your project is delivered on time, on budget, and most important, safely. River Parish Contractors, let's get building.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
Looking for cleaner energy? Propane is energy for everyone. Propane water heaters are very cost efficient, and the savings are even greater with a tankless propane water heater. We all know that Louisiana propane is a safe and environmentally friendly fuel. So why not go green while you save some green? I'm Miss Louisiana, Gabrielle McLeod, and for more information, visit louisianapropane.com.
If your office is experiencing performance issues like slow networks, jammed printers, or disappearing files, Advanced Office Systems may be right for you. With powerful IT solutions, print management, document imaging, and security systems, they help offices regain confidence naturally. Side effects may include uncontrollable efficiency, smoother workflows, and a sudden burst of office joy. Say goodbye to those emotional breakdowns in the supply closet and get back on track with Advanced Office Systems.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Tuesday show is brought to you by Immense Networks Cloud IT Management. Immense Networks Cloud IT Management. They are on your system 24 hours a day, 7 days a week over at Immense. They're proactive in that way. Sometimes you don't even know there's something wrong with your system at work, but Immense will if you allow them to take control of your IT management. And so they'll be able to get out in front of it, fix it, make sure that you're not shut down or compromised in any way. That's the beauty of working with Immense. If you've got an IT group right now, whether it's in-house or it's a third party that is either overworked or just not living up to your standards, let Immense come in and help. That's what they do. They help. They want to help you grow your business with the use of information technology, and they want to streamline things for you. These are local folks from Baton Rouge. If you're a 50 to 100 employee company, that's kind of their sweet spot over at Immense. They've got experts in QuickBooks and Salesforce and other CRMs, and they're proactive in consulting for you. So if you're looking for another IT solution, Immense Cloud IT Management may be your next stop. Check them out online at immense.net, immense.net. All right, nothing official here with LSU basketball, but overnight, overseas Twitter accounts started suggesting that LSU was getting a defection from it's really hard to keep up with these leagues, and I want to make sure that I get it right because he was with the French league, and they also play in Euro League, but this is a Turkish team that plays in the Turkish league and then in Euro League at times. French player, French national team, Turkish league, also Turkish team in Euro League. That's all correct. The name you're looking for is Bryce. I believe it's Dessert. It could be Dessert. Who knows? He's French. I don't know. This is a different world here that we're trying to deal with in terms of Will Wade's recruiting. But it appears, based on reports from a lot of different outlets over in Turkey and in Europe, Bryce Desert is very likely headed to LSU. Who is Bryce Desert? I'm going with Desert until proven different. It looks like Desert. Dessert. He's a French player. He's 6'11". Some have him listed at 7 feet, but he's tall. And he is 23 years old and a month. So he's going to play this year, this next season, at 23 at LSU. So you're talking about a full-grown, fully developed man. You turn on the YouTube highlights, he is big, he moves pretty well. He is a 5-6 year professional basketball player in France and in Turkey. And he fills a need that I've been talking about. I told you after they got a couple of shooters, ball handler, they're in desperate need of a point guard, and they need a big that can play defense at the rim and physically match up with big bodies in the Southeastern Conference. Here's your answer, Bryce Desert, as far as the post goes. He is a true post player. I'm looking at his basketball reference stats. He has played 5 professional seasons. He has shot 1 3-pointer in 5 professional seasons. He does his work exclusively in 2-point range and around the basket. That's why, over the course of 4 seasons, he has shot 71% from the floor because he's dunking and laying the ball up. He does almost all of his work finishing around the rim. He doesn't create his own shot a lot. He works in the pick and roll game, diving to the rim. He works off the offensive rebound and putbacks game. He does some good job cutting, as a lot of these European bigs do. And he finishes with both hands very well around the rim at 6'11", 7 feet tall. He is not a super skilled offensive player. When you shoot 47% from the free throw line for your career, you get the point. Last year was his high water mark as a free throw shooter when he was playing in the Turkish league. He shot 55% from free throws. He's not a shooter, but he's big, he's physical, he can jump, he can alter shots at the rim, he can throw down dunks, he can catch alley-oops, he can offensive rebound, he can cut, he can score off the catch when he's cutting. He's a big in every sense of the word, and he's going to fill a role on this team. I don't think it's completely dissimilar to Mike Nwoku. You're not getting threes. You're going to get a lot of screens on the perimeter, a lot of rolling, a lot of action around the rim. And y'all remember last year when De'Don Thomas was healthy, he was throwing lob after lob after lob to Nwoku, who was really good at rolling and getting up to the rim and making plays on the ball. That's what you're getting from Desert. Fran Fraschilla absolutely loves him, says he's going to be a really, really good college player. He does a lot of scouting overseas and knows a lot of scouts overseas. It looks like Kansas and Arizona were at least interested at a certain point. But the fact of the matter is that despite statistics and what he averaged, which was about 8 points per game, about 5 rebounds per game, that's secondary statistically because he's not playing huge minutes. They don't play the young guys quite as many minutes in the EuroLeague. They don't want those guys to get on a huge profile and leave for the NBA. But he brings unequivocally one trait. Unequivocally. Well, I shouldn't say one trait. One trait, one fact. One trait, he's 7 feet tall-ish and built like a brick house. Like, he's a huge dude. And 2, he's 23 years old. Like, that's a guy who has played in tough environments in Europe, is not going to be intimidated by the SEC, is probably older than the guys he's going to be playing with, more physically mature than the guys he's going to be playing against. And he should be a really key player for this LSU team. Obviously, right now, he's your starter at the 5 because you don't have anybody else to play the 5. You have a big to stretch the floor in Santos, who should be a stretch 4. And this is your 5 that's going to be able to guard the post, that's going to be able to block out, to show a physical presence, to protect the rim, to rebound. And you absolutely positively have to have that in college basketball. It's a little bit odd to me still. This is a team that I love in LSU basketball, that they're going to get 5-year professional basketball players that are 23 years old. Do I think that's the spirit of what we were trying to sign up to do here? Probably not. Is that Will Wade's problem? Not for a single solitary second. You go get the best players that are eligible to play for you this coming season. And it sounds like LSU is well on its way to getting Bryce Dessert, who fills a need. They still desperately need a point guard. Honestly, the skill set De'Don Thomas has would be a great fit. They need a point guard badly, and they need a two guard that's a scorer, that can create his own shot, get to his spot on the floor, make jump shots, make threes, just be a high-level scorer. I don't think Ugachukwu is built that way. 6'3", combo guard, can score a little bit. Like, I would like him to be the first guard off the bench instead of the starting two guard. But those are your two biggest needs right now, your two lead guard spots. Your wing situation is very, very good. You've now bolstered the front court with a true big, but you need guards that can make plays with the ball. You've got some guys that are comfortable playing off the ball, making pick and pop threes, making pick and roll dunks, getting spacing and cutting to the rim. You got a lot of guys that can do that. You don't necessarily have the back of the basket scorer, the point guard who facilitates everything, and the absolute 16-point per game bucket at the two guard position that I would like to have. But no fear, because we're still only at 4 public commitments, looking at 5 public commitments, and you got plenty of room. You got to fill 7 more spots at the very least. Feels like Will Wade feels pretty good about that, but he said they're going to pay 7 or 8 players. So you're talking about you're close to 5 on players you've decided to pay. What does it look like for the next couple of guys? You've got to have a point guard, no doubt about it. We'll see what LSU's able to do that. I'll probably have tomorrow, maybe the next day. Just kind of depends on how the news breaks. All this Twitter breaking news is from overseas, so we'll see what actually comes of this. But if it becomes official, Bryce Dessert to LSU, I'll write a portal profile on it over at LouisianaSports.net that you can check out for free. Incidentally, if you want to read about the Saints, go to LouisianaSports.net, click My Teams, boom, Saints. Want to read about LSU? Go to the same thing. My Teams, go to LSU. But also you can break it out by subtitle and go LSU football, LSU basketball, LSU baseball, LSU women's basketball, and you can pare it down to just one specific sport if you'd like to do that as well. So we invite you all to go check out LouisianaSports.net for free. All right, one more time out. Come back and close it up next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Lifetime Roofing, LifetimeRoofingLLC.com. Sorry, that's not right. LifetimeRoofingLA.com. I don't know where that came from. LifetimeRoofingLA.com is the website. I have been telling you for the last couple of weeks that Lifetime Roofing does professional installation of gutters, of siding, of windows as well. So it's not just roofs. Gutters, siding, windows, anything on the exterior of your home, they are happy to help you out with. And this is another thing to keep in mind that not everybody considers. Storm season is coming. Maybe you don't need a new roof. Your roof's in pretty good shape, but you don't really know. Well, send an inspector up there from Lifetime Roofing and see what it's like. And if you need a tune-up, they'll do that. It's not a fully new roof. It's just something to make sure that your roof is ready for storm season if that's something you're looking to do. That's something they offer at Lifetime Roofing. Find them online at LifetimeRoofingLA.com. LifetimeRoofingLA.com.
Every ounce of Raising Cane's lemonade has been hand-squeezed that day from fresh lemons before being served over our signature crushed ice. Because when you make it right, you can taste it in every bite. Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers. One love.
If your office is experiencing performance issues like slow networks, jammed printers, or disappearing files, Advanced Office Systems may be right for you. With powerful IT solutions, print management, document imaging, and security systems, they help offices regain confidence naturally. Side effects may include uncontrollable efficiency, smoother workflows, and a sudden burst of office joy. Say goodbye to those emotional breakdowns in the supply closet and get back on track with Advanced Office Systems.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
As a business owner, you're always focused on how you can improve the bottom line. Well, when was the last time you shopped your insurance coverage? Insurance Network of Louisiana can help. If you're a business owner, let my friends at Insurance Network of Louisiana see if they can find you better coverage for less money. They always offer exceptional customer service and partner with only the best providers. So check them out online today at lainsurance.net. Hey, it's Matt Moscona. Look, back pain can sideline you from the things you love. That's why I trust Dr. Kevin McCarthy and the team at the Spine Center of Louisiana. Dr. McCarthy doesn't just treat symptoms. He gets to the root of the problem. From advanced injection therapy to minimally invasive surgery, they've got the expertise to get you back in the game. With 5 locations across Louisiana, including right here in Baton Rouge, quality care is close to home. Call the Spine Center of Louisiana or visit spinecenterla.com.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Before we get out of here, let me remind you about Fabry Chevrolet GMC. FabryChevrolet.com is the website, FabryChevrolet.com. Great inventory of new and pre-owned vehicles there, so whatever it is that you're looking for, Fabry Chevrolet GMC can certainly help you out with that. As I've been saying, family road trips are coming up. Need that SUV, maybe a new one. Get the whole family loaded up to head wherever you're headed. Fabry Chevrolet GMC is happy to have you. They got Chevy Suburbans and Tahoes. They got GMC Yukons, Denali's. It's all there at Fabry Chevrolet GMC. You know, based on the Fabry family's history, 35 years here in Baton Rouge, that they're going to give you a wonderful buying experience. You can start it online at FabryChevrolet.com, but go see them Highway 61 in St. Francisville and get that test drive. Whether it's a new or a pre-owned, you will love the deals and the inventory that they've got at Fabry Chevrolet GMC. Quick drive up to St. Francisville on Highway 61 online at FabryChevrolet.com. All right, news of the day, really concrete news, not Lane Kiffin talking to whoever he's talking to. LSU and Clemson will have College Game Day here in Baton Rouge for the season opener. College Game Day has not been here since the rain-slogged 2024 Alabama game where Jalen Milroe ran. That was the last time Game Day was here, but they'll be here for opening weekend. I can promise you campus will be full. It'll be really hot. Game Day will be here. 2 polarizing coaches, national brands. It's going to be quite a scene here in Baton Rouge for College Game Day, and we fully anticipate they'll be in Oxford 2 weeks later for LSU and Ole Miss. Chase Parham from 247 is reporting that expects to happen over the next few weeks. So LSU is probably going to be right there under the microscope of the nation in week 1 and week 3 of the year 1 of the Lane Kiffin era. What could go wrong? I guess a lot could go right, too. We'll see. But we've talked a lot about all of that over the course of the last 2 hours. Let's play some Take It or Leave It.
Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Today's hottest stories in sports, news, and sometimes even Hunt's life. The question is, will he take them or leave them?
As much as I would like to escape Ole Miss, we got to keep him on the hot seat. So Texas head coach Steve Sarkisian came out today and said that Mississippi has lowered its academic standards to make it more of an attractive destination for recruits in the transfer portal. Quote, at Texas, we only take 50% of players' academic credit hours. Sarkisian said you may have to, take a semester to come up to those 50%, but at Ole Miss, they take you as it is. You can take basket weaving and you can get an Ole Miss degree. So is Sarkisian and Kiffin teaming up against Ole Miss right now? Take it or leave it.
I'm going to leave it. I saw this quote. What he's saying is, if you want to get a degree from Texas,
yes,
you have to take 50% of your coursework at Texas.
Yes.
You can't do 90% somewhere else, then come take 10 and get a diploma from Texas.
Yes.
You can do that at some other places you can at Texas. Here's my thing, Steve. Who cares about their degree? They're coming to Texas for the $4 million payday, for the $3 million
football, yeah.
payday to play football. They don't really care if they get a degree. How many guys graduate, I use that loosely, leave after 3 years to go to the NFL that don't get a degree? So I get it, and it's a shot there at Ole Miss, whatever. This is feeding the Ole Miss ego when all these guys are talking about this stuff. Oh, we're relevant now. Oh, they're scared of us now. Oh, everybody, the big bell, get at Ole Miss. And it is what it is. I don't. I've about had it with Ole Miss. I'll be honest. It is what it is.
Well, Hunt, we are attached to them for the foreseeable future at the moment.
That's correct.
Unfortunately. So FIFA, we already talked about this, but just to add on, FIFA is using only grass fields for the World Cup. MetLife, AT&T Stadium, Gillette, Lumen, NRG, SoFi, and Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta. All these artificial turf fields, they're being replaced for the natural grass field. And a lot of the players, especially the NFLPA, they're coming out and making it a big fuss that how is it this easy for them to put these grass fields in?
Yeah.
And we've been asking for this. So is the NFL making a mistake not implementing these grass fields? Take it or leave it.
Take it. I mean, they have limitless money. I don't know how to grow grass. I don't know how to grow grass inside. I don't know how you do that. But if they can do it, I think it's a reasonable idea. So we'll see if they can make it happen for the World Cup. Can you make it happen for the fall? I'm not a horticulturist or whatever else, botanist or whatever.
I don't even know what you call it. Grass
whatever you need. I don't know how to do any of that, but it seems like if they can do it for this, they can consider some things. And if they feel like the injury risk is significantly less putting in grass, go for it.
And it's crazy we're talking about billionaires being cheap. It just doesn't make any sense. Those two words should not go together. So Swatch and Audemars Piguet, a luxury watch brand, are collaborating to create affordable $400 to $600 pocket watches. So are pocket watches making a comeback in 2026? Take it or leave it?
Maybe take it. I don't know. You're not going to catch me with a pocket watch.
You're not going to get a pocket watch?
I'm not going to do that. You know, everybody's kind of got their thing. I got some friends that are deep into the watch game.
Yeah.
You're not going to catch me deep into the watch game. I've got a watch on right now that my wife got me for our first anniversary. I love it.
Yep.
Full disclosure, this watch hasn't ticked in 2
Don't
years,
even got a battery
two
in
or
it?
3 years. No,
Hey,
it
okay.
hadn't ticked in 2 or 3 years. I think it looks good. I like to wear it.
Yeah.
My wife says, "Why don't you go get it fixed?" I don't really care. I'm not going to look down at my
I'm
watch.
always checking my
I'm not going
phone.
to go check.
Yeah.
I'm just going to pull the phone up and check it anyway. But you're not going to catch me deep into the watch game. This one's not a wildly expensive purchase. It was wonderful that my wife got it for me. I love it. But I'm not going to get deep into the watch game. But if you want to get deep into the watch game, I support your ability to do so.
I support it, and I'm kind of hating from outside the club because I've seen some of these Audemars Piguet watches. We're talking like $400,000 watches.
I'm watching right now a show. I won't spoil what show it is in case people want to stumble upon it. But let's just say there are some very expensive watches that are featured prominently in this show. Now, these are ridiculously rich people that are on this show. It's fiction.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, I won't in any time ever be getting a $400,000 watch. I might hit the Powerball one day. I might get $1 billion. A $400,000 watch is not happening. In fact, I'll probably still wear this watch if I get that much money.
Oh, no, you got to get a new battery in it, though. You'll get a new battery, though.
Probably not.
Really?
That's just not a priority. I will be going to Cabo. I'll be playing golf.
Yeah.
I'll have the house paid off, and we'll do some things financially that are great. A new watch is just not going to be on the list. I don't care.
Well, that's it for take it or leave it.
No midweek baseball tonight for LSU. Midweek slate is done. LSU back in action on Thursday. That means your Tuesday just opened up because I know you were locked into all those midweek games. So if you want to come check us out at Courts Table for Sports Trivia tonight, highly suggest and would invite you to come on out. It's a lot of fun. We sit there in the bar area, got a chance to win gift cards. There'll be, let me do some quick math there. That's $125 worth of gift cards to Courts Table, as well as pickleball courts that you can win time if you get second place in any of the rounds. So come see us 8:00 at Court to Table. Eat some great food, drink some cold drinks. We've got some games on TV, and you can always win gift cards at Sports Trivia. Get you out of there by like 9:15. So it's not a late night for Trivia Night, 8 to about 9:15 at Court to Table. If you missed any of our show today, catch it on demand wherever you find your sound. Just search Hunt Palmer Show, our shows wherever you find your podcast. All my LSU content, Hunt on LSU. All the Saints content, Hunt on Saints. We had Sharif Ishak talking Saints today. Glenn West talking Tigers. Wilson Alexander jumped aboard to talk about his interview and sit down with Lane Kiffin that went up today on 3, so you can check that out. I gave my thoughts on the whole Lane Kiffin saga. I've written a column about it at LouisianaSports.net. I just don't really see what all the outrage is, but people got to get offended and freak out about something these days. So we've got to do that. And a little bit of baseball talk as well. Glenn West was here, and we talked a little bit about Mason Braun. So check that out wherever you find your podcasts on demand. Tomorrow's show will be a What If Wednesday. Talk to Koki Riley, do some SEC baseball power rankings, and maybe there's a basketball commitment we can chat about on tomorrow's show as well. Either way, hope you all have a wonderful and safe Tuesday evening. Hope to see you at Quarter Table. Either way, Matt's going to drive you home next on After Further Review. See you tomorrow. It's the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
First American Bank and Trust. First American Bank and Trust. FABT.com. FABT.com. Bank local. They've been local at First American Bank and Trust for 116 years. It's kind of hard to believe, but it's true. 116 years they've been here, and they've grown to 25 locations throughout Southeast Louisiana. There's always one near you, whether you're around Baton Rouge and Dutchtown or Jones Creek, maybe up I-12 in St. Tammany and Tangipahoa, down the Bayou, St. James, St. John, Lafourche, Terrebonne, over in the New Orleans area, and Metairie. First American Bank and Trust is here in every single decision they make. All the decisions are made locally. So the people that are making decisions based on your commercial loan, your personal loan, are right here in the state of Louisiana, in Southeast Louisiana. You're not just a line item for somebody who's checking something in Atlanta or Sacramento. Right here in Southeast Louisiana. So stop in one of the branches, conveniently located, 25 of them, or check them out online at FABT.com. First American Bank and Trust.
When it comes to industrial